Hey everyone, how's it going? Here's a little update on what's going on. Changing out the outer tie rod ends because the previous ones that are the same exact brand and everything pretty much went out. And it's because they didn't have grease on the inside, so I packed a bunch of white lithium grease inside here, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. And these are the older ones that came out. Same exact brand and everything. $47 for the pair, and these are for 240 S13s. But kind of see pretty much shot. But the thing I find funny, these are the same exact design, brand, identical to the T as K-Sport, Power by Max, Right Hand JDM, Super Now, like all the freaking high-end name brands use the same exact one. So I don't understand why they're trying to charge 150 to 300 bucks when these are the same exact thing for $47 for the pair. And that's pretty much what's on the inside, that if it's not greased, will come out and cause it to fall apart. So hopefully the new ones don't do that. But these are identical to Power by Max, Mazda Tricks, K-Sport, like you name it, they all use the same exact one. And the thread pitch is a M12 by 1.25. So I don't really see the point of dropping $150 to $300 when they're the same exact ones as these for $47 for the two. So yeah. And when it comes to installing all this, my alignment's not perfect to begin with, but it's good enough that it's not chewing up my tires. So what I did, I put a few zip ties on it, backed the bolts off probably at 5% to 10% of a turn, just enough to get it off of the blue piece. And then once I did that, just put the wrench on the blue piece and just loosen it up from right here, and then that'll pretty much stay where it's at. You tighten this down when you get the new one in, put a little bit of Loctite on it. I put Loctite on everything. I put Loctite on this part, I put Loctite on this bolt, I put Loctite on the threads on this little Heim joint itself. Just put Loctite on everything because it's a hell of a lot nicer and easier. And you don't have to worry about shit coming apart. And when it comes to the tie rod ends, they actually do sell an aftermarket set that are fatter than this. So instead of having a 12 millimeter, it's a 14 millimeter. But they only work for power steering rack, not for manual rack, so that's the downside on them. And they're a little bit stronger, but yet if you hit the wall, it's a lot cheaper to replace one of these because this is 20 to 40 bucks versus $200 to $400 versus $200 to $400 versus $200 to $400. So it all gets kind of expensive. So if you can make it to where one thing breaks and everything else gets saved, it's a hell of a lot cheaper to let one of these go out. That's why I haven't really upgraded. Plus I can't get the upgraded ones for this because I'm running manual rack. Those need to be replaced soon. That's pretty much what's going on. And I got a lovely leak coming from the stupid bolt on the bottom of this fucking oil cooler. My AN fittings are still good, they're not leaking. That AN fitting doesn't leak. And the AN fitting up here doesn't leak either. Like all that's all perfect. Where the actual leak is coming from is the fucking drain plug at the bottom of this damn oil cooler. It's kind of hard to see. I'm trying to get my phone buried in it. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a big ass like 24 millimeter bolt on the bottom of this oil cooler where all that oil is coming from. So I gotta tighten that damn thing up. But more than likely, I'm just gonna put the bypass plug on my other oil cooler that came out of it, put it back in here because this one a little worse for wear. I mean, it's obviously seen better days. A little on the beat side. Sorry for the shake cam. But swapping out those. Sounds like my buddy Ryan's 2J freaking wagon. It's a Toyota Cresta, like an 83 with a 2JZ VVTi engine inside of it with an R154 trans. With a fucking exhaust coming right out the passenger door. But that's what that was. And on the cheap tires I bought, there was already a plug here previously. The plug went bad, or there was actually a little hole next to the plug, so I pretty much put a plug on a plug. But now that's fixed. I just kind of shaved it with the razor blade because you don't want to have like that. You want that to be completely flat across it. So once you get it dried and everything like this, then you just get a razor blade and just all the way across until it's flat and smooth with the tire. That's how you make sure the plugs don't get pulled out. But other than that, that's pretty much what's going on. These front coilovers aren't leaking. The back driver side's leaking. Pissed me off. Tried to get a hold of them, and they're pretty much wanting me to share $70 for shipping fee. Doesn't make any sense. And no matter what I comment them on, that's always they freaking send back every time. But until I snapped a wheel stud right here, I'm actually going to do upgraded wheel studs. These are 12 millimeter by 1.25. I'm going to drill out the rotor, drill out the hub, and I'm going to go to 14 by 1.5 millimeter. So it'll be a little bit fatter stud, more beefier, and it'll actually handle more. I just have to drill those out. The rims are actually already pre-tapped for 14 mil, so I don't have to worry about that. And then on the rear, when I was replacing the rear driver's side wheel bearing, I kind of found out that those little mini links that are pretty much these guys right here, these things are shot. I sprayed lithium grease inside them to try to make them a little bit quieter, but they clunk. Hit the gas, hit the brake, no matter what you do, you get clunking from these, and it's 125 from Powered by Max. So I'm going to go for a pair of those, and then more than likely if those are bad, where are they at? Those rods right there are bad too. So I got to go through, replace those rods. I got the bushings for that lower bolt right inside there. I just got to drill and tap them, then put them inside. But then once I put those bushings, that little link right there, the big link right there, and then put my other rear end inside of it, suspension wise, this car's been completely rebuilt, redone. There's not a single damn thing original, and this chassis had like 300K on it. So it's time for all that shit to be replaced. A little look what's going on. Everything's still holding up pretty nice. I hit a damn speed bump too fast and it shredded my thing. That's the downside of having it. That shit happens. Other than that, everything seems to be clean. Still leaks from the freaking oil level sensor on the oil pan. Rear main seal and freeze plug seem to quit leaking. I don't really see any crap. Transmission's not leaking from the normal spots. The one spot it's actually leaking from is the stupid seal right up in there to the dry shaft. That's where all that oil is coming from. So I got to put a new seal in right there. But other than that, everything's pretty good. Surprised how clean this car is for being from 1986 and having almost 300K on the chassis. Eventually, when I get the new lower ball joints, I'm going to go through and paint those, clean this all up, and then the front will match the back. That's what the new tie rod looks like. Maybe you can see that damn bolt from here. Yep, see that bolt right there? That's where all that oil's coming from. Stupid bolt right there on the bottom of the oil cooler. Bastard. Gotta tighten that up, and then all that would be pretty much gone. That's where all that's coming from. But I'm gonna get putting this lower tie rod in back on, get everything all bolted up, and take it down the road and see how it goes. Everything seems to be pretty good. I got a lot of meat left on the brake pads, so those are still good. This coilover's not leaking, at least not yet. It looks a little wet up there. Eventually you get new steel braided brake lines because those are getting a little crunchy. These are 7 years old, so I wouldn't chance them. Everything looks pretty good. God, I need to clean all that. Clean all that. But a little update of what's going on. Have some more videos coming out shortly. Don't forget to like and subscribe.